Hello and welcome to another vlog. I've been doing these for a year now. Now, all the way back in vlog 13, I showed you how I did these rather nice textured bases using wallpaper. This is of course the same stuff I use on the board that I do my regular vlogs on top of. The roadways on my large round battle board what I done made. And my modular terrain tiles. Here's a few examples of what the textured wallpaper bases look like when they're all painted up and they've got a figure mounted on them. So in this vlog I'm going to show you how to do the same sort of thing, but with plasticard, or generally any bit of textured plastic. Okay, let's get started then. Here I have 3 different bases which are rather good for doing this with. This is a Citadel round base, one of the newer ones with the annoying injection point, we'll get to that later. This is a Reaper Bones base, one of the slightly taller and flat edged ones. And this is a Frostgrave base. Also here I've got a sort of industry standard base made by Dyson Games. Got, well you're going to be able to see this. D&G written on the bottom there. That does not stand for Dolce & Gabbana or whatever, it stands for Dyson Games. These bases don't tend to stick too well with liquid poly, so I will not be using these. These are the bases I tend to use for the wallpaper method, as previously mentioned. Right, let's get on with these 3 then. What else do we need? Well, we need the textured plasticard we're going to stick on. Here is a convenient size strip, however this stuff is generally bought in roughly A4 size pieces. It has a texture, which I hope can get into focus, on one side, and, well, I would say no texture, but a slight showing of the texture on the other side. Texture, considerably less texture. Texture, considerably less texture. Texture, you get the idea. Right. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get this texture onto these bases, and here's how we do it. Right, prepare the bases first, and try and keep somewhere near the centre of frame so you guys can see what I'm doing. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is use my knife to remove this annoying injection point bit from the Citadel base. Don't cut towards your fingers, kids. I'm an idiot. Right, that's that ready, and because it's got quite a rough texture to it, just going to give it a little bit of a filing. Just to help things stick better. There we go. Right, got these 3 bases. Which order? Like that. Are they all in frame? I hope so. That'll do. Right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that there. Yeah, my framing is not brilliant. I need to be working ideally here. That's better. That's near the middle. Right. And I've got some liquid poly glue here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to spread said liquid poly glue onto the top of these bases. There we go. And now we're going to flip these bases over, well, this base over to start with, and place it down on the back of the plasticard. That's the not textured bit. Like that, give it a little wiggle to make sure it's stuck down. And I will continue to do the same with the remaining bases. we go. Now we need to leave this glue to set, harden and otherwise. So we'll put this to one side and I'll magically produce from off frame one I blue peated earlier. So here we have our Citadel base, our Reaper Bones base and our Frostgrave base, all stuck to the untextured side of the textured plasticard. Right, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to separate and then trim off the plasticard. So I'm going to get a knife here and make a cut through the plasticard. Doesn't have to be all the way, you're basically scoring it at this stage. There we go. And then snap these bits apart. Right, and now we're going to pick the bases up individually and use some decent clippers to trim away the plasticard around the edges. There's one that's a little rough at the moment, but we can use a knife and the clippers to clean it up a bit more and get it nice and round. Just a matter of trimming off the little bits that are sticking out until it's round enough. There you go, nice and round now. Right, let's do the others. And there you have it, 3 rather nice textured bases. These are great for games like Mort, Frostgrave, or anything you want set in a tiled environment, like a dungeon. Well, tiled, you know, stone floors and stuff. Okay, so here I'm going to use a Mantic Dungeon Saga base, add a little bit of texture to the top of this round Citadel base. Right, so the first thing we need to do is cut these edges off the underneath and get it flat so it'll stick to the other base. I'm going to use my clippers here. Get clipping. Bits will ping all over the place. Try and aim them away from your face. Need to cut this little round bit, which is the underneath of the bit where the original miniature would have gone off as well. There we go. Now this isn't perfectly flat yet, so we're going to get a file out and we're going to file this down a bit. So yeah, we're just going to file these bits flat now, just to make sure it sticks to the top of the other base properly. And there we go, pretty much flat. Okay, now we're going to give the round Citadel base a little bit of a filing as well, just to help things stick together. Not too much, and if necessary, again, remove the annoying little injection point with a knife. Right. Now it's time to glue things together. Got my liquid polyplastic glue here, and just going to trail a bit across the top here. Not too much. Spread it out if you get a big blob. Just evenly, don't get too close to the edge. There we go. And now it is time to stick the two together. Okay, give it a little wiggle and make sure it's positioned. There we go. We will now leave that to set slash dry slash whatever you call it. Okay, I'm fairly certain the glue's pretty much set now, so it's time to trim away down to the roundness of the base, pretty much like we did with plasticard. There we go, that's still a little rough, so we're just going to use a knife to clean up the edges and also to bring the gaps between the tiles down to the level of the base. Okay, there we go, that's looking pretty good now. But we've still got that little hole there where the peg for the original miniature would have gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bit of the leftover scrap from what was cut off the edge there, and we're going to use that to make a little tile, little loose tile to sit on top and cover up that hole. And there you go. Nice textured dungeony looking base to mount your miniatures onto. I think what I'm going to mount onto this is this Advanced Hero Quest wizard. Should sit nicely on there. That. And yeah, I'll get them glued down in a bit. Now you of course don't actually have to use Mantic Dungeon Saga bases for this. You can use other stuff as well. There's a company called Wills who make these large panels of textured plastic for use with model railway setups that are very useful. Here's a few examples using some of their stuff. Rather nice. And this is a base I've done using a bit off the top of a toy castle that was a rather nice sort of tiled texture. Thought it was useful for some sewer tiles or something like that. And you don't even have to use plastic. Here I've used super glue and wood to do a sort of wooden decking type effect. And here's some finished examples. This is a Dragonstrike Death Knight mounted on a Citadel base. This is a Citadel Chaos Warrior on a Reaper Bones base, and this is a Mantic Dungeon Saga Fire Demon of some kind mounted on a Frostgrave base, and all of them, as you can see, have got the textured plasticard on there. The base on this Keratite was textured using a Mantic Dungeon Saga base, And Trevor the Arcane's base was of course done using the wooden coffee stirrers. So I hope all that was useful, or at least interesting, or at the very least just not boring. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you're already subscribed to my channel, like this video. Until next time, I need a goodbye catchphrase.
Are you still here? It's over. Click on something else. Go.